as chair, I call the meeting of the Pantops Community Advisory Committee to order. There being no quorum, we will not conduct official business, such as the minutes at this stage, but we can move to other agenda items. Um, and I think, does everybody have the agenda in front of themselves? Okay.
Let's see. I will share my
Why
screen.
don't you share the screen so we can all see it?
Update, sorry to interrupt, but Dave Norford's going to join us.
Oh, great.
Oh, good.
So we'll have a quorum.
Excellent.
You all see this? Yes. We'll skip the first two for now. We'll go to number 4 and then we can go back just so we can talk about the dates. Which is, oh, this tab is in the way for me. Oh, there we go. Just right here. So these are the dates. The top just says we'll be at the fourth Monday on this committee will meet the fourth Monday of each month, 6:15 and 7:45 in the Kessler Conference Room. Unless otherwise noted or canceled, please visit the calendar for the most up-to-date meeting dates and agendas. And then these are the dates. It is the fourth Monday for all the months except for May. I did leave July in there. I got rid of November because that's Thanksgiving. And then we've been doing, I can't remember if this is the first or second
It's the third year we've done this. I think it's excellent. Do that
Monday,
early.
but this early December day.
Yeah, that works.
And so if you all are okay with this, generally, obviously, if we have to cancel or reschedule for other reasons, I have not heard anything from Frank about needing to move rooms for any reason. I think we're good with that. So this should be the dates pretty much for the rest of this calendar year, unless there's anything else anybody wants to look at or make changes to.
I think they're very good. Dates, we sometimes lack agenda items in one of the summer months, July or August, we sometimes missed, but let's keep them on the schedule and skip May because it comes at Memorial Day. And yeah, I think it's good. Any other problems or observations?
Looks good to me.
Well, let's.
I just want to say I will not be here for the June 22nd meeting or the September 28th meeting, but I know Mike will be here, so I'm good.
All right. Well, let's approve these meeting times and move on to the next agenda, which was
Let me see Dave's here. Hold on, I think I have to stop sharing for a second. He is not yet here, so I will share my screen again for the topics discussion. Let's see.
well, let's open the floor for suggestions on topics.
Oh, I have a slight presentation. Dick
Oh,
just
do you?
see
Good.
everything off and talk a little bit about
Because
what
there
we
are some
talked
that
about
are, yeah,
from last year. And
yeah.
some things that are just generally on deck, I think. Nothing too specific or crazy or unexpected, I don't think, from anybody. So welcome everyone again. So we're just gonna talk about the charge again to refresh your memories, past topics and potential future topics, and then brainstorm some ideas for other potential topics. So this is the charge for CACs. The orange highlighted parts are kind of the main takeaways, I think, from these. Will assist and provide input to county staff and the Board of Supervisors on community and county efforts related to implementation and support of the adopted master plan, communicate with constituencies to increase understanding of and support for successful implementation of the master plan and will be a catalyst for helping foster a sense of community and work towards effective and efficient master plan implementation. So these are kind of the overview chapter titles of sorts of what's in a master plan, what's in the Pantops master plan, what's in the other county master plans. There's a future transportation plan, land use plan, parks and green systems plan, and supporting recommendations, as well as implementation recommendations for policy updates and capital projects, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the Pantops list there. So in 2025, you all talked about the budget, the Economic Development Strategic Plan, transportation updates, Zoning 101. We did a civic access overview, and then the all CAC was on the community well-being report and other community data. For 2026, a lot of CAC members across the board really enjoyed the Rivanna Water and Sewer Authority update that you all received back in 2024. And I figured I would invite them all, or them to come back to all the CACs again this year, which other people have been supportive of as well. If you guys have interested in that, if you have interest in that, we can do that again. I know you guys like parks updates, so I figured we would invite parks at some point this year as well. And a kind of annual transportation update is what we have been doing the last few years. So I think you guys had it in, I want to say, the early summer or late spring of last year. So hopefully we can get them around the same time frame again this year to come and share with you all some updates about the projects happening in and around Pantops. So brainstorm. So just, I think the most important thing to keep in mind is kind of the master plan areas, and kind of, if you have specific things in these 2026, feel free to share them and we can make sure that they talk about them when they come. But if it kind of is encompassed in here, I think I'll provide those updates as well. Or if we start getting those on deck, and you think of something, feel free to let Dick and I know, and we can make sure that they, the staff person or the agency presenting on these topics comes prepared with information about what you're interested in as well. So I'm going to, let's see if I can escape this, and we can go towards this lovely list page, and I can take notes. um, so Dick, I don't know if you want to just go around to everybody individually, or if people want to raise their hands and you want to call on them physically or through the system. I think, let's see, someone else might.
I've no longer got the people that I can see, but I would like to open the floor uh, and do a little brainstorming. I have one or two ideas, but I'd love to hear from others. Kate, you sometimes have wanted us to make sure we're up to date on police matters.
Yes,
Uh,
that was one thing I was going to suggest, Dick, is that I had a lot of questions, mostly from in our neighborhood. You know, we've had a rash of the car break-ins, and
yes.
then over in Pantop Shopping Center after the Taco Bell ABC store, I had some questions about just generally crime in our Pantops area. So perhaps we could facilitate having someone come up and talk, and I'm happy to help with that, Allison, if you want me to, but maybe get an update on that. And then the second thing that I've been asked about a lot, but I don't know that it really pertains to this group, although it's Pantops, but it's on the other side of the river. I don't know if you all have noticed the homeless encampments
Oh, yes.
along the river, and they're quite visible now with all the leaves gone. But again, I don't think that's on the county side. I think that's on the city side. Can anyone verify that? But there are a lot of concerns about those people, both their safety as well as the community's safety with all of them. And I don't know if any of you ever walk or run down there, but it's definitely jarring. You can be greeted by naked people just getting out of their tent and peeing as you run by. But at any rate, it's an interesting situation down there.
I think our supervisors can confirm that is not county property.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If I may speak to that, I just recently sent something into the staff and police department regarding this issue, because they did clean out the homeless encampments on our side of the river under Free Bridge. That was cleaned out. But if there are more on our side, which I'm not sure there are. I think it was mainly under Freebridge.
Yes.
The encampments, that's something that we can ask Jeff Richardson to speak to Sam Sanders regarding, and I can also speak to Juan Diego Wade. I do know that the mayor of Charlottesville, I do know that they are aware of that and they're working on it, but I can bring that up again.
Yeah. This encampment has actually been broken down in recent memory. So for a little bit of context, we often see encampments grow and shrink with the calendar. A big part of this is that Charlottesville does not have, excuse me, does not have a year-round shelter, but we do operate shelters in the winter through Pacham. And so it's very common that in the summer, and then especially right before, like in October, right before the shelters open, you'll see a lot of encampments grow. This one was broken down, I want to say 4 or 5 months ago, but it's been rebuilt since then. And it's also interesting because it's operating now during Pacham's shelter season.
That's right.
The long-term solution that the city has been working toward, that the county has also been working toward, is the creation of what we would call a low barrier year-round shelter. Low barrier means that people who have active substance use issues aren't turned away. That's a decision that different shelters have to make. But a low barrier does fill a niche in the ecosystem, because there are those people who have active substance issues, and if they aren't allowed in a shelter, then they're on the streets. So a low barrier shelter that is also operating year round, and that's just something we don't have in our ecosystem currently. The county does have a portion of our housing trust fund. And I actually have issues with this because I don't think this is what the housing trust fund is for. I think this should just be funded through a different funding stream. But a portion of the housing trust fund is set aside for when the land for that is identified, for us to contribute in partnership with the city, an amount considerable. I don't remember what it is offhand. It will be interesting to see if that actually resolves the issue. Because as I reflected, right, our winter shelters are currently open, and yet those encampments are still there. The people who are in those encampments, a lot of them are people who you might characterize as people who are particularly hard to house, people who have some personal idiosyncrasies, some mental health things that make them not want to be in a shelter environment. These people are always in our community. They're just often somewhere that's less visible than right there on the trail. I mentioned sometimes there's a encampment that I'm quite familiar with in my district that is immediately adjacent in the woods to Wegmans, but we don't see that encampment, right? It's up the hill behind Wegmans in the woods, and no one sees it. You know those homeless people if you work at Wegmans, because they come down sometimes, but no one sees it. This is one that we do see. So yeah, the city also entertained a law that would have made sleeping outside in the city of Charlottesville illegal. It might have been constrained specifically to city of Charlottesville property, but I think it was just within the city. A law like this was recently deemed constitutional in Oregon, but it was quite contentious. The city faced incredibly strong pushback from the community when they even entertained this law, and so they've since abandoned it moving forward. That's everything I can tell you about this.
Michael, would it be useful for us in the county, even though this is not in the county, to ask for some update from the city about it? I mean, we are trying to get this promenade really up and going, and it's being used a lot more. But right across the water is this encampment. Now, I don't mind it, but it might be a matter that people in the community would like to have an update on. I don't know whether that's possible or whether it's desirable, but what you've said is helpful, but we might
Yeah.
do something at one of the meetings.
I wonder if our own team from Human Services would be equipped for that, because they work pretty closely with the city. I don't think there's information that they wouldn't know that the city would.
Okay. Well,
That would just be an easier ask than trying to ask, you know, a neighboring government to spend some of their staff hours on us. But I don't know. I guess I pitched that to Allison if she thought that would be realistic.
But I think that
Yeah.
this is certainly a topic that's very timely, and I'm not sure all of our constituents, and I would include myself, is familiar with what the applicable regulations are. And if we had someone from the county who could come and sort of give us an overview of the entire issue, at least what they know about what's happening on both sides of the river, um, whether the low barrier uh, shelter is something that could be done on a cooperative basis with the city, or whether it's something that's just not feasible for us. But just generally review what's going on, what the regulations are, and what the options might be.
Well,
I
we
can talk with human services about potentially having someone come or sharing additional information if they don't feel like they can speak on it or for whatever reason they can't be here. But obviously, we have a number of meetings, so it's pretty open time wise. So
And the
you're
joint
probably
response team also, Allison, might be a good idea, maybe in concert with human services, because our hearts team deals with that. And Mike, to my knowledge, they broke up that encampment right behind Wegmans just recently. So as far as I know, they're
It's
not.
been broken up once or twice before, but
yeah.
that sounds about right.
Mhm. I will let everyone know that you're familiar that Charlottesville is putting in or purchasing a building near Whole Foods,
yeah.
near the hotels there, that would then be for homeless also. And we are on 29 on the west side of 29 where the old, what was that? Red Lion Inn, something like that. Used to be that we're putting in a building, and I think that's going to house 140 or 144 for people that do have difficulty in finding shelter. So this should be, continuous year-round shelter for those people. One bedroom will be studios, or one bedroom, maybe two bedroom. So things are happening.
Thank you. Well, any other agenda ideas from people?
May I take a point of, I don't know, I won't say privilege, but we do have someone listening in, and that's Natalie. And she is a Virginia Tech graduate in environmental planning and policy. So you may want to extend the invitation to her. That's up to you, Dick.
I'd be delighted to have her, especially as she is soon to be a member, we hope. Um, so if she is hearing me and has any suggestions for agenda, speak up.
I think Megan has her hand raised right now, too.
Okay, I can't see that. So Megan, go ahead.
I, I don't know if this is a topic or a discussion, but on the parks topic that Allison raised, I'm curious to understand better the Parks Foundation and how the projects are decided. And I don't know if part of that discussion we could have that to understand how the projects are decided, how donations work, etc. Because I know I spend a lot of time in Dardentown Park, particularly in the dog park, and have a lot of suggestions from various people that I talk to there. But I didn't know how that
They came and spoke
process
to the
works.
Crozet CAC, just like to introduce themselves. So I'm sure I had talked to I don't remember if she's still the president. But I had spoken with someone a few months ago actually about coming to you all, but the timing didn't work out, and then just became other topics. So I'm sure they'd be willing to come and talk about the Parks Foundation as well. So that's a great ad as well.
I will tell you that Teddy Hamilton is the president of that group, and they've broken out into 5 different committees. There's one person covering each areas of interest, shall I say. For example, her area of interest, and they raised money for it, was taking away the tennis court, the last tennis court, and putting in pickleball courts. And they raised the money, and they actually gave the check to the county of Albemarle County. They delivered the check, and so that is in the process, probably in the spring, that the additional pickleball courts will be added. And that was paid for by the Parks and Rec Foundation. There's one for the promenade, Free Bridge Promenade, and there are, I think, 3 others. But if you I can send you Teddy's information, Megan, and then you can also ask her. They have a board. The foundation has
Yeah.
a board, and the board makes the decisions on what they're going to raise money for, since it's a private 501c3.
But yeah, I want to understand better how they make those decisions. I haven't seen any kind of like surveys with the community or how that's decided. That's why I brought it up to understand better. If they are able to come and talk about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, we can ask Teddy. I can ask, or Allison, you can ask, or I can ask Teddy to come forward and do a presentation.
Under the heading of parks, while we're on that subject, I think we might get an update probably from Patalino on the efforts being made to extend the Old Mill Trail to North Winton, the bridge. And I think they've been making headway. I heard that a contractor had gone through and helped to decide what bridges would be needed, and maybe they've made some progress. One of you may have heard on the budget estimate for extending that trail, because it will cost money because of the bridges and other things. But there's an active group of trail hands who would love to help out, but I think that can't be done. So an update on where that stands would probably be helpful as part of an update on the parks.
Sounds good. And it looks like Judith has her hand raised as well.
Sorry, my video is not working. So I wanted to circle back, and Kate, I thought that was a great idea about the police updates. What I wanted to mention with that is, I believe this is in Albemarle County, the loitering on the median strips, and trying to get money from the people in their cars going through there, and how I think that's dangerous. And the other day around 5 o'clock, where there was, lots of traffic, one of these people were in the median peeing, urinating,
Ugh.
clearly. I mean, side view in front of everybody. So, I mean, this is a really an issue of these people being there for long periods. And I was looking up, I mean, there's a state law on loitering that they say that then the counties can come up with their ordinances. And I think this ought to be looked at in terms of the loitering on these median strips.
I think that's a great topic. And B and Mike, you might be able to speak to some of that as well as the police officers, because I do think Albemarle permits it currently. Mike, is that a fair assessment?
If someone is not obstructing the flow of traffic, I think the ways to legally do anything about it are going to be really limited. You can't ban someone from panhandling. It's unconstitutional.
Right.
You can't tell some, and in general, like in modern times, loitering and vagrancy laws are looked at with incredible suspicion by courts because they normally outlaw, frankly, status, right? Occupying space. Um, I don't know of a legal mechanism for doing anything about this, nor would I personally, politically, be inclined to, unless we're talking about specific conduct that's dangerous, or, and most of that's already illegal, right? Someone peeing on a median, it's already illegal. It's indecent exposure. So I recognize it's frustrating. I'm not sure I can think of a mechanism that would combat this. There's signs that some cities put up. I don't know that that has any significant impact. And the signs would only be suggestive things like consider not giving to people.
Yeah, I think the signs in that they have posted in Richmond are they're a little stronger than that. They say instead of giving them money, please have them call such and such a number to receive assistance, to receive help. We've actually, as a board, looked at this several years ago before Mike got on the board, and we couldn't get consensus with what to do. It's like Mike said, you can't forbade them for loitering. It's gone before the Supreme Court or state Supreme Court, from what I understand. And so we can't do that. Charlottesville's having the same problem. So
Let me be the devil's advocate on that. Okay, there's panhandling and there's loitering, right? So panhandling is going around asking what for money, but loitering under Virginia law, there it is illegal, and counties are allowed to have a loitering ordinance.
I'm not clear what kind of loitering ordinance you would want that doesn't like fly in the face of Papa Christou. It would be very challenging to craft a law that would combat this. And signage to the style of what Richmond has could be appropriate if we actually had a service infrastructure that could accommodate someone on a single phone call. We don't, right? Like saying, don't give to them, call them, and they will be housed at this number. We can't guarantee that. So I'm not sure that that kind of signage is appropriate here.
I don't know if I agree, because there are places that they can go to for assistance at Franklin, both Charlottesville and at Albemarle. But that's a topic for a further
I
discussion.
mean, it's a matter of fact that we cannot guarantee a bed to someone who seeks a bed. We just had a topic on this.
Okay.
We don't have a year-long low barrier shelter in the county.
But they do in the city.
No, they don't.
Huh?
They do not.
Okay, year round, you mean?
Correct.
Okay, but I think some of those are coming in the future.
They are. They're
Yeah.
not there yet. We
So
cannot house all of our homeless in this region.
Anyone else?
Could I ask the supervisors a question about the data center, which I think was tabled? Uh, a question is it ever appropriate in a situation like the data center that might have been put or might yet be put up where State Farm is, and which happens to be a section of the river where serious consideration was given earlier about a pedestrian crossing of the river? Is it out of order to, if one does get in conversation with an entity that wants to build a data center, to discuss a proffer such as something the county really wants, which is a crossing of the river, which would be expensive? Um, is that kind of conversation allowable at all? Does it happen?
Dick, we cannot do that.
Right,
Properties, when someone wants to develop something, and I know Mike's going to weigh in on this too.
right,
When someone wants to develop something and then they want to go beyond, let's say 100 houses, townhomes are allowed. They want to go to 150. That's when the discussion of a proffer may come in. But the whole discussion regarding data centers, we've tabled that indefinitely. So we do allow them up to 40,000 square feet. But they still have things that they have to meet. There are about three,
sure,
4 in Charlottesville, Albemarle County. There's one that will be put in at the new Paul Manning Research Center, and that's to service that research center. And there's a couple others, but they're all small.
right.
I can't ever see a situation whereby we would ever allow, at least not this current board, ever allow mega data centers. Like I said, that whole discussion has been kicked down the road. Whether or not it will even come up again, I don't know. But we have there, if they do, there's criteria that are very stringent that make this area not, not how shall I say, not attractive to someone who wants to build a larger data center. And we don't have the need right now, except for the Paul Manning Institute. Mike?
Yeah. So the policy that the board, what we've characterized as the board declined to act, but I think it's helpful to actually think like through the interim policy that we adopted, and then the fact that we couldn't get votes to proceed, we have adopted a policy, right? It's almost misleading to say that we declined or that we didn't, because we have created new law over this, and it's not likely that that law is going to change. So the current policy allows that in industrial zoned areas, you can have up to 40,000 square feet by right, and then after that, it needs a special use permit. There were 2 votes that wanted it even more restrictive than that. To the first point, we can take proffers just like we would with housing. We can take proffers on if they want to go over that. In fact,
Yes.
you could say it gives us leverage to do that.
That's exactly what I'm thinking,
Exactly.
Michael.
Yes.
Exactly that. So say some body, instead of building 40,000 up at State Farm, wanted 100,000, which
Mhm.
would still not use all the property. It's big space.
Correct.
And the county might say, well, we're not inclined to do that, though we have a project that if you agreed to help on that, we would look with more favor on your proposal to do 100. Now, is that kind of negotiation possible?
It
Not
can't be explicit.
No.
But
Can't be
they can
explicit.
know, we can
You
say,
can't
oh,
bargain.
here's things that we have always thought about in this area that you should
Okay.
just maybe know that we've been thinking about in this area. And we might value.
Blah, blah,
These
blah.
kind
Yeah.
of discussions happen, but like the board, B and I getting together and saying, we want you to proffer X many million toward this bridge construction, that level of explicitness can't happen. But frankly,
Okay.
they're such sophisticated actors that they normally figure out what we want pretty clearly.
Yeah.
It's kind of a whole charade that the way the state law is written makes us do. Charade. Yeah, I would also just raise, I was one of those 2 votes that had wanted an even more, a lower square footage by right. I'd wanted 5,000 by right. And part of that was thinking, we got the Paul Manning Institute that just opened, and it's got a 35,000 square foot data center in it that went in by right. We got no leverage, and we're not getting a dime from that institute. If we had had leverage because it wouldn't have been allowable by right, we could have gotten something out of that. Now we
Got
don't.
it. Interesting.
And
I'm not in full agreement, but close enough.
we don't get a cent of tax revenue off of UVA's data centers because they're used for academic. They can say they're used for academic uses,
Right.
and so they're tax exempt. I think we could have negotiated a small scope pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes, if that wasn't by right, and they had to seek approval from us.
Yeah,
Right.
it's really tricky, Dick.
Yeah.
That how this works, because we can also legally, there are certain things that we cannot do. But the decision, staff came up, we were actually going to hear this, and the staff came up with a decision to basically table it because we weren't in agreement on everything. So they just
Yeah.
tabled it. And like I said, hopefully it won't come back up again. But I know some counties are using it because they need the revenue. Fortunately, we are doing enough with our Economic Development Authority that I don't think we're not as desperate. We don't need the money like some of the other counties do. We have other sources of revenue that are not real estate taxes, through commercial,
Right.
light industry,
Sure.
retail, things like that.
Does anyone else have a further suggestion for topic? Okay. Well, maybe we call an end to this section of the meeting.
Great. Let's see.
Okay. Do we have,
The next would be updates from the supervisors.
did we ever get a quorum?
Yes.
Yes, because if we could go back.
Yeah, Dave Norford's here.
Yeah.
If
Right.
Judith can figure out how to turn on her camera, the cameras have to be on for you to count towards quorum.
I've got to call someone else.
She's there. She just can't get a video working.
Yeah, I might have to just jump off the meeting then and try to restart the computer and everything. So, but I don't want to hold the meeting up.
Judith, if you wouldn't mind trying that while B and Mike share their updates.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
being recorded anyway, so
Okay.
you can have the updates
Okay.
afterwards too, so you're not technically really missing anything. But if you wouldn't mind trying, just because I don't. Thank you so much, Judith. See you soon.
Well, regarding updates, I don't know if you've heard it out or read the Albemarle newsletter, but Amy Smith is our new Parks and Rec director, taking the place of Bob Krickenberger, who retired after 50 plus years. Incredible. She's been with us for quite a long time. I think it was 32 years. So she has a lot of experience. Also, our Albemarle County Fire Rescue Foundation is now active. They have a 501c3, so they'll be raising money, and that is now active. And as you are aware, the foundations, be it the Parks and Rec Foundation, Fire Rescue Foundation, Police Foundation, they are there to raise monies for what their board decides. And a lot of it is for county does not provide. So, they won't pay for things that the county should be paying for. Also, for those of us that, are in this area, but Gordonsville Road, which is 22-231, there's a bill making its way through. It's HB 821. Our very own Amy Lawfer is a co-patron of that bill. And that's a bill that will allow photo speed cameras in historic areas, which 22-231, aka Gordonsville Road, does qualify as a historic road. So that bill, if we can get that, and I know there's some other roads like that in the county, if we can get that, that gets our foot in the door and really enables us to try to control some speeding. Whether or not you know it, a week ago, there was another truck, I think it was an Amazon truck, that went off the road. And so that caused a lot of traffic. We've had people that have been killed, trees taken out. fences taken out. And I know this is not the only road that happens to, but we have a real problem with speeding. Those are all my updates. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have much to add. It has been a fairly quiet year starting off. We had our reorganization meeting. But I don't know that B or I had any significant changes to our positions, and frankly, that's not a huge thing for most people. There was the board actually revisited business that we had previously decided on with a parcel in the Woolen Mills district, that's the Scottsville district, that we actually changed from the previous decision, and we voted to approve the special use to fill that parcel to allow construction on it. Very contentious issue from a lot of city residents who immediately border it. There's not much coming up soon. There's a proposal. It's not in this CAC district, but I think is interesting because it's coming toward us, and it's going to be another proposal that is non-compliant with our affordable housing zone requirements. We've actually had one or two of these so far. And this one is going to be interesting in that I think they're doing quite a lot of effort to kind of show their work, show their own math, that they don't think it is possible to build it under the current, build the development under the current affordable housing requirements. The last one that was non-compliant, we actually didn't seriously grapple with the affordability issue. And I think it's going to really challenge the question of whether or not our inclusionary zoning standards are too onerous, which has been suggested by the developer lobby, but that's the developers lobby to suggest that. And it might invite a policy reconsideration on that.
Right.
That's all I got.
And Mike, are you referring to the 20% affordable housing for the new development? Okay.
Yes,
I've heard the same thing. And we're not being flooded with new applications for affordable housing.
This is always a hard thing. So this came up in my previous CAC meeting with Fifth and Avon CAC. The number of meetings they'd had was just fewer because they had fewer triggering community meetings because there was just a lot less developments and applications coming through. That lines up pretty closely. This slowdown in applications has lined up pretty closely with when we adopted our new policy. But there's more than one manipulated variable in this science experiment. So cost of land and cost of capital also shot up around that same time. Talking to some of our neighboring localities and a few people who are developers, it's not likely that we would have seen much more development had we not adopted these regulations. But I think it's still going to be an interesting conversation, and there's certainly going to be people who suggest that that our regulations have halted development.
And a question for Allison: do you have the date for when the Rivanna and the Scottsville town hall meetings will be held? This year for the budget town hall meetings, we're not doing it in conjunction with the CACs. We're doing one in every single district. So Mike has a certain date. I have a certain date for the Rivanna district. I know the one for the Rivanna district. Do you have the one, Mike, for your district?
I can pull it up.
Yeah, can you?
I almost always find myself doing two because I normally join the Samuel Miller one and vice versa because our urban residents on both sides of that border not like to come to one and our southern residents like to go to another.
And I mean, residents can go to any one of them. That's not, but we're having one in each district. But if you're closer to the one being held or the date for Scottsville, wherever it is, then that's fine. Do you see that? I can run and get my calendar.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
Sorry, I don't have the dates either.
So March 25th, there's going to be one at the Fifth Street office building. That's the Scottsville District one. The Rivanna District one is March 30th. These are all at 5:30.
Right.
Um,
5:30 to 7:30, right.
yeah.
And mine will be held at the
Lakeside Middle.
Yeah, Lakeside Middle School cafeteria. Oh, 5:30 to 7:30 on the March 30th. So and there's one for each district. You can attend any one of those.
And we'll have more information about that out via
Yes.
email
Right.
as well.
Yes.
I can share the update. Dick had asked me to check in about the pedestrian crossing of Route 20 that you guys heard about from Kevin last year. So Kevin said VDOT has completed the study and has a conceptual design and cost estimate, but we have not identified any funding to construct it at this time. He said it was somewhere around $800,000. We are trying to figure out what opportunities we have to come up with that. So there is a concept, but not funding
Right.
at this point.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And why does it cost $800,000? Well, VDOT does things a certain way, so. Hmm.
I don't see Judith back yet. Give her a couple more minutes. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Or anything Mike or B said tonight? Let's give her a few more minutes, and then if she isn't able to make it back in with her camera on, we can just vote on those at the next meeting. Nothing's changed. We just need to adopt it annually, and technically, the annual date of adoption would be tomorrow for you all. So, um, uh, it'd be good to do it this month, but we can do it next month too if we need to. And we can't have a virtual meeting next month anyway. So, uh, we can do this then if we have to.
So we'll have to do the minutes at that time too. There's August. I think you said there was a September minute that needed to be approved, and I didn't find that. Maybe it's there. I just didn't find it.
I may have forgotten to add those anyway. I do have those. I thought I
So
had
next
added them, but
time
now
we'll
that I'm looking.
add that as well as the August one, and we'll do it quickly. I mean, the August one looked fine, but we can't vote. So
Yeah. Um,
And Dick, refresh my memory on the Rivanna River Committee. To build that bridge, we had originally looked at 16 million and they came back with 42 million. Is that correct?
yeah, that's what. Yeah, there were
Yeah, that'd be a pretty large profit.
that could well, and attempts to get further study on that, I think it
Here's
failed.
Judith.
Oh,
Finally. Sorry,
hey,
sorry.
so we need to convene the meeting we have a quorum. Thank you, Judith. Uh, why don't we do those bits of business? One is to approve the virtual uh, meetings procedures and constraints, and that was pretty clear. You've put it up. You're going to put it up again. I read it through. Have others read it through? The policy?
And nothing's changed from last year. If
Right.
you looked at it last year, we just have to adopt it annually.
Move to adopt the policy as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
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 Not many volunteers. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
objections? Okay. That's duly passed. The other thing we do have is the August minutes that were circulated. Uh, Does anyone need time to look at those, or can I call the question? I read through them. Thought they looked good. So any motion to approve the August 25, I think it was, meeting of this PCAC? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Kate. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? No? So those August 25 meetings are approved. We don't have the September meetings, minutes, so we can't act on that, but we'll do that next time. Please, Allison. Any other actions we need to take together? I hate not to have more things to talk about with you finally here, Judith, that you got on. We get to, uh, but we've accomplished that bit of business and we've had our reports. Any other items on the committee members' minds that they would like to air at this moment?
I would just like to say I apologize for being late to the meeting. I've been plowing snow all day and I forgot about it. So if B hadn't called me, I'd probably be asleep by now. So
Well, you guys, we had a wonderful person do a service for us and he worked very hard.
Yeah.
I know there's an infinite amount to be done. Thank you. Reg, good to have you. Is this your first formal meeting or did you do one more?
Yes, it is. No, this is my first official meeting. Delighted to be here. Delighted to
And does
meet all
everybody
of you.
know where Reg lives up there and where Henry Light lives at Westminster, Canterbury? And a man of many parts. I enjoyed a very nice lunch with you, Reg. I look forward to working together.
Look forward to it as well, to all of you. Thank you for all you do.
So, that all being said, I hear a wait a motion that the meeting adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Without objection, it is so ordered. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Mike and
Thank
Bee,
you.
Thanks
for
again.
taking the time once again to be with us.
Stay warm, everybody.
Okay, and be careful, right?
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night.